Welcome back to Be More Truthful, the podcast about relationships, bridging the gap between men and women. I am Cornbread Capone, and today my special guest is Diva D. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
I'm all right. First question I want to ask you is, what is it like dating in 2025? For those out there who might not be in that pool and have yet to experience it.
Well, I to be frank with you, I can't really answer. I guess dating your husband is good, but I can't speak for others, due to the fact I am married, but I feel like dating time for me is fun and exciting, but for the people that's entering in the dating site, you got to be kind of on your P's and Q's, to make sure you pay attention to your surroundings.
Okay. I guess the better question would be, because you're married, so you're
Mhm.
in a sense where a lot of people would like to be, but
Mhm.
unfortunately, it's a lot of us that will never get there for one reason or another. Now, those are challenges that everybody faces when they walk outside their door. Um, what I wanted to ask you is because I've seen the general public have less value in marriage. It's not valued the way it
Mhm.
was back in the 90s when I was growing up. It doesn't have the
Okay.
same value. It doesn't ring the same to people, a lot of people anymore. How do you feel about the people who have taken away the value of marriage?
Um, all I gotta say on that note, a lot of people don't put God first because when you get married, it's between you, man, and God. You and that spouse and God. That's the main key. A lot of people, what's the word I want to say to word it out better? A lot of people want the worldly marriage. You know what I mean? In other words, they want the glitz and the glam, but they don't want to deal with the downs and outs in the ends. When they say that for better or worse, a lot of people kind of renege on that question or richer for poorer. They kind of, you know, they don't really value the definition and the greatness of marriage. They downplay it because people downplay it so much.
Yeah, and I that's something that I sat back and watched myself. Like it was one time, it was held up to a higher regard and a higher standard than it is today. And
Hmm.
now it's looked at as, well, if it's from a man, they're gonna say there's no benefit. If it's from a woman, she's more uh she's more there for the wedding and the ceremony, more so than she is for the actual marriage. They care more
That's
about
true.
the pictures and the presentation and the videos that you can post on Instagram versus, can I build with this person? Can I deal with this person? Can I live with this person? Can we travel together? All these different things that play a role in marriage. I want to
Correct.
ask you this because we're both involved in music. Do you
Hmm.
feel like the music today plays a role in why marriage is not looked at the same, why relationships and dating is not looked at the same? Does the music play a part in that?
I agree and I disagree because I feel like this. If you are your own person, right, and you got to mind your own, you shouldn't let other things gravitate or dictate to how you live your life. You know what I mean? And I notice a lot of the youngsters, what they call it the Zen generation, they gravitate to validation from others. When the older generation, we didn't need all that. It was all about, hey, as long as you was being loyal and I'm being respectful to you, that's all that mattered. But nowadays, people don't really truly understand. And as far as you saying with the music, they feel like once they put these little I don't need a man, anthem, or what's the other songs, or it's like they devalue love. And that's what people don't understand. When you take love away from it and it just becomes a business ordeal, then you don't have nothing.
Right. That's the same thing I say about R&B music. I hear people all the time. I'm a hip hop artist, but
Mhm.
I grew up on the R&B that my parents listened to, the Frankie Beverly and Mays, the Sades, the Earth, Wind and Fires. So I know about that level of R&B, and then I know about the 90s level of R&B because when I was young, it was about R. Kelly. It was about Jodeci. It was about SWV and all these different groups and artists who came from the 90s. So, and we all resonate with that music because that music had love in it all. And today we look at
Oh,
all it's a shell of its former self. When people talk about R&B, they talk about the 90s, they talk about the 80s, they talk about the 70s because all that music had love in it. Today,
oh,
you can't reproduce to the music today because the music today makes you fight. And that's what I be trying to tell people in my own way. But this is what has hurt R&B because R&B used to be about love. Girls get on the internet and say, I want a dude to beg for me in the rain. Well, dudes ain't begging in the rain for hoes. Excuse my language. But I'm being real.
hey, it is what it is, dude. I mean, but a lot of these young girls, because they never had a father figure in the household to teach them, and even the ones that never did. And that's why I said it's a difference between, like I said, with like I said, what they call it, the Zen versus the old school, new school. They call us old fools, but we're old fools for a reason because we've graduated to be where we used to be, where y'all used to be, but our mindsets was different. See, these youngsters, I'm not talking down on them, but it's hard to explain and talk to them when you're trying to break down things for them to understand. Their mindset is already on 10. They always defensive, some of them. You know what I mean? Or they feel like they know everything because they have this little thing called Google that makes people think they know stuff.
Right.
You
I
know what I mean?
agree.
It's sad. You know what I
I
mean? Like
I agree. At the
they,
same time,
yeah.
it's not just the younger generation too, because some of this has infected the oh boy. Really, what I wanted to ask was because this plays a role in the disintegration of relationships as well. Do you feel like social media has played a role in why marriage isn't valued, relationships aren't valued? They're more looked at as a business transaction now, more so than just trying to get to know somebody. Do you think social media?
Hell, hell, yes. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say it that vulgar, but yes, it does because everybody runs and gravitates. It's like this little bubble that we look in on this little thing. People go all the time. Oh, they tell people where they're going to eat in the restaurants. Everybody don't need to know every little move you do. Some things you need to keep private. Keep them guessing, wondering who you are. Everybody don't need to know everything about you. Give them little by little who you are. And people get mad because they can't have access to your life. But you got to twist that around and say, you know what? Social media don't run me. I run me. See, this is what's wrong with people. They don't know how to be them authentic selves. They get on this social media, and it's like I'm doing anything for attention. It's attention grabber. They want attention. Social media, it's like they listen to these people that call themselves relationship gurus, right? They tell you one or two things when you find out they ain't the people who they say they are. In reality, hell, everybody's struggling. Everybody going through something, but a lot of people are afraid to say it. You know why? Because they got an image to put up. They people know them. Well, people want to know the real you. People don't want to give money to a faker or a
Right,
joker. They want to give it to somebody authentic.
right. And that's why I make it clear that I'm not a relationship guru, love doctor, or none of
Mhm.
that. just a man who just asks the questions that be in my mind, because a lot of times I see a lot of this stuff, because of what I do and how I move around. I see a lot and I hear a lot, and I think to myself, wow, it wasn't like that when I was young. I remember when I was young, it was very simple. It was simple as you walk in the room, and if a young lady looked my direction, that was the indication. And more than likely,
Right.
if I saw her and I like what I saw, I'm gonna walk that way. No questions asked. But now you have to be cautious, because there are people in the world who the cold approach died many, many years ago. Let me say that. It
Hmm.
with Me Too. It died with when chivalry went out the window. Well, the cold approach went with it too. You know what I'm saying? So we in a bad state of affairs. In terms of
Believe that, man. Yeah, it's true.
it's just it got too bad, and now it's to the point to where it's like it's it's broken, and it's like I'm wondering, will it ever get fixed? And it seemed like it's just gonna get worse before it even starts to appear to get better. And
Well, see, and I agree with you. You know what you're saying, because a lot of people do. They gravitate to social media. Don't get me wrong. Social media is a good platform when you're doing something that's positive, or have a good effect on people. Because, like you said, this is your platform. People look at you. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you get what I'm saying. If when people have these social media platforms, the purpose of having them is to keep the people thinking. And everybody going through something, but it's to keep them arise, to keep their mind. All right, well, maybe it ain't so bad. Maybe it ain't always like it is. But a lot of people come on here and they think these people are their real friends. Hello, these people don't know you. But they get on these platforms and they be like, me and my baby daddy just had a fight. All you doing is giving them fuel to your ignition of who you are, and they laughing behind your back. They're not consoling you. They're thinking you're a fool. Because everybody gravitate to their own opinion, just like an asshole. Everybody got one.
right, it's true. I think that one of the first things that you could do is have a relationship and put it on social media, because that's almost like a death sentence to me. And I've just seen the wicked, ugly side of it, which is why I'm opposed to. But at the same time, I still see people who do it, and it seemed like they are right. Well, at least from my perception, they appear to be all right. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Nobody does unless you're there. So
Man, let me
I
tell
have to.
you, I feel you on it. I'm gonna say this not to overtalk you. People love to put on a good mask, right? But when it's all said and done, they take that mask off, boy. Boy, you see some wicked, ugly things, man. But I feel like this: if you was already solid in that relationship to begin with, should nobody come in between that?
And that's real. But now I want to ask you this, because you are married, and a lot of women lack the direction or the focus that it takes to be a wife. What
Hmm.
type of advice would you have for the woman who wants to be a wife but has no idea on what a wife entails?
I'm gonna say it like this: it's not an easy task because you have to be submissive, and a lot of women who are alpha like myself don't really want to do that because they feel like, oh well, I just do. But you got to learn to be submissive, and not just that. I'm gonna say this, not saying like I'm this religious. You got to put God first in order for it to work. See, this is what people don't understand. It's not no magic. It's not no words. You have to put God first in the marriage to make it work. If you don't have those, it's kind of like this and that. It's gonna be more like a business arrangement. You have to put love second. You got to put that in there. You got to put that in the equation. You got to have communication. You got to have the, you know what I mean? The compromising. People don't want to compromise because when you both of you on your high horse, somebody got to come down. Somebody got to understand that person. You got to be the yin to that yang.
Hmm.
When
Well,
when you down to your last cent, you got to be the one where y'all put together and make that whole dollar. But so many people don't do that. It's not about that. It's about putting, like you said, it's teamwork. We're a team. If I don't make you look good, then guess what? I'm not gonna look good. We gotta make one another look good.
I agree with that. I want to ask, where did the alpha woman thing come from? Because prior to maybe 10, 15 years ago, you would have said alpha woman, people would have been like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to figure out, where did it come from? Where did that come from?
But my thing is, this is my definition. I feel like an alpha woman to me is I feel like they feel like when a woman is outspoken and can speak her mind without it seem like she's being, us African American women been so labeled with so many not so great things. They say we have attitude. They say we're aggressive. But if y'all been oppressed and depressed and under pressed for so long, is sometimes they don't see the silver lining at the end until they actually find someone who can handle and tame and mold them into something great. If you're already a great person, you just don't know. Sometimes you could get discombobulated along the way. But then if you that's what you gotta understand when they say the word soulmate. If you link with someone and it's a true soulmate and they can understand and they can outweigh what you got going on and see your flaws and faults and still love you for you, that's a keeper.
Right.
And that's one in a lifetime. And everybody don't have that.
No, I mean it's not an abundance of good people out there. It's surely not an abundance of good men out there. And the traditional woman, the woman that would be ideal for marriage, is few, far, and in between, because most women have adopted the modern mindset, the modern look. They listen to the same type of music. They all on social media looking exactly the same. They all operate in the same spaces. And a lot of them are going after the same type of man.
Ooh, man, now that's sad. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because it says you a man yourself, and you can back me up on this. It says this clearly. A man that finding a wife find a good thing, not a woman that finding a man finding a good thing. A man that finding a wife find a good thing. And a lot of us women, like I said, when you have that mentality, because guess what? When they've been so hurt and misused, they feel like it's that they gotta put this wall up. You get what I'm saying? That defense mechanism wall. They feel like, oh well, I've been hurt anyway, so I'm gonna have this attitude like nothing hurt me. When deep down inside, sweetie, you're a woman. You hurting somewhere. Let it go. Everybody's played the fool before, but it's a time and place where you gotta say, you know what? I've been down this. Okay, let me pick myself up and build again, and see. Then that person will find you. I was blessed. I'm speaking for the women because I've been down that road where I've been hurt, and things weren't so great. But due time, when you least think about giving up, you think you're about to drown. God sends that lifeline rope to build you up and say, you know what? I heard your prayer, daughter. I got you. It's true. You can find somebody, but you gotta really be sincere in your prayers. Because these women, you get caught up with the glitz and glam. Everything, like they said, glitter and gold. Sometimes you might think that's pretty. He could be a wolf in sheep's clothing,
Yeah. And
or he could be abusive on the cover.
how long have you been married?
Next month, I mean, no, April will be 6 years.
Okay. That's what's up. Before we get up out of here, is there anything that you would like to say to anybody?
Well, I want to give a shout out to my cuz, Vic, Slab Radio, Slab Rollers. I would like to give a shout out to Murder One, to 832 Banger, all the people that's out there, Vern, all the people that's doing their thing, Big Swift, all the people, Jaime, Sinatra. I want to give a shout out to all of them and to my friends and family that's always been there that supported me through the thick and thin.
Well, I thank
And
you for.
hold on, I'm sorry. The special shout out to my homegirl, Roderica. You know who you are. Thank you.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I want to say thank
Mhm.
you for taking the time out to speak to me about relationships. I feel like this conversation needs to be heard, and not only that, I feel like women listening to it could probably take something away from it that they can benefit from. And at the best,
Right.
that's what the show is all about. Um, I wish you all a success in your music. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
We in the same music circle, so I gotta get you on the music podcast whenever you
Most
have,
definitely.
and on behalf of the good people at One Man Records, I am Cornbread Capone, and this is Be More Truthful, the podcast about relationships. And until next time, everybody, peace and love, because that's what the world need in a major way. Peace and love.
Salute. Thank you.
Thank you.